This story begins with a young woman named Riley recording a video in which she says she doesn't feel safe, feels like she's being watched, and is terrified. Suddenly, a loud noise is heard from downstairs, mixed with screaming. Riley leaves the room to investigate, but after that, no one ever hears from her again. Several weeks have passed since Riley and her team of paranormal investigators disappeared. Although many believe it's all a hoax for attention, the victims' families are begging the police to take the case seriously. 12 years have gone by since that disappearance, and now Riley's older sister, a woman named Mia, is working with a documentary crew to tell her sister's story so the public can get to know her better. Mia explains that even as a child, Riley was very mature for her age. She was always thinking, solving things, and noticing details no one else could. While some kids kept a dream journal, Riley preferred to draw them. She would start drawing as soon as she woke up because her dreams were extremely vivid, though sometimes she also drew her nightmares. In high school, Riley began taking the arts more seriously. When she acted, she seemed to come out of her shell, becoming an expert at pretending she was fine when she actually wasn't. With that kind of passion, it was no surprise that her YouTube channel took off quickly. During the last half of the 20th century, there were UFO investigators, demonologists, and psychics who lent a certain mysticism to the subject, but over time, the idea of investigating the supernatural became a joke. However, YouTube was just starting out, and no one knew the reach it could have. So Riley's group, known as the Paranormal Paranoids, connected with an audience that had been relegated to UFO conventions and paranormal chat rooms, people who craved that kind of content. The curious thing is that almost every time they filmed, they managed to capture something most paranormal investigators search for their whole lives, which is precisely why they had so many detractors. Mia admits she initially thought they might be faking it because she didn't know how else to explain it, but she also knew Riley wouldn't do that because she took everything very seriously. After the prison episode, Riley became very quiet and distant. In that episode, Riley is seen walking through the halls of an abandoned prison when she suddenly stops in front of a cell and asks her team if they feel the cold she perceives. Something scares her so much that she runs out of the place while her friends try to stop her. Many people said it was a lie, and the channel stopped uploading videos and lost popularity, although some fans were alarmed while others thought it was a publicity stunt. But then everything changed when the news reported that the hosts of the Paranormal Paranoids channel had been missing for 5 days. People started taking it seriously after that, and although it is sad to say, that was when their true fame began. After the disappearance, people from all over the world started studying their videos looking for answers. The police had security footage from a gas station showing the group made their last recorded purchase on the outskirts of Shelby Oaks, so at least they knew they had made it that far. The most obvious place to search was the old amusement park about 60 miles away. Mia's mother talked about that park all the time because she loved going there as a child, as having a dance hall where bands played was the only reason to visit Shelby Oaks. The park closed in the late 90s after a serious fire, and many believe the place is haunted. Shelby Oaks has been a ghost town ever since, but from the perspective of these young investigators, the place was surely a gold mine. The search seemed promising, but ended up being another dead end. The detective in charge of the case admits he doesn't believe the search will yield results, and that it would be better to focus on discovering who did it, because every good cop knows that feeling when you realize the person you are looking for isn't coming home. Mia recounts that she met her husband, Robert, 2 years before Riley disappeared. She always wanted to be a mother, and Robert always wanted to be a father, so they tried for a while, but it didn't happen. Then, when Riley disappeared, it simply stopped being the right time. Sometime later, someone from Riley's team called 911 reporting that several people had broken into their location, that there were many of them, and that they had killed them. Unfortunately, the bodies of Peter, Laura, and David were found in a cabin on the outskirts of Shelby Oaks, the ghost town the young people were likely investigating for their show. On the front door of the cabin, there was a disturbing symbol made with blood, but Riley was still missing. A camcorder was discovered at the scene, and police determined it might have recorded the perpetrator. When the video was released, it sparked a national campaign. People couldn't go to the supermarket without seeing a poster or an ad asking about Riley. From the video, they determined the suspect was a white male approximately 6 feet 1 inch, calculated based on the window height, and that he was wearing gloves. so they basically had nothing. But there was also the other thing. The detective admits they must have watched the video 500 times before showing it to the public, and none of them noticed it. But now he can't get it out of his mind. In the reflection of the video, a horned figure appears watching the scene. Mia remembers Riley telling her about the night terrors she suffered as a child, how she saw a man at her window and felt trapped. Riley even mentioned seeing images of a school and a prison in her dreams when she was just 13. Mia explains that as a child, Riley suffered many night terrors. They would hear her scream and run to her room to find her sweating as if she had run a marathon. Riley kept saying she had seen a man on the other side of her window watching her, but it was a second-floor window. They never found anything other than a crack in the glass. When Riley turned 13, she finally outgrew those episodes, but the last night Mia saw her, she had that same look in her eyes, as if she knew something was wrong. There has been much debate about what Riley said in that last video, but Mia has watched it hundreds of times and is very sure of what she heard. Her sister said her name and then added that he had returned. Mia remembers that when they were children, their mother made sure they could always find their way back home. In the woods, she would carve their initials into the trees so that if they ever got lost, they could follow the marks, and they always guided them home. Now Mia just wants to guide Riley back. While the film crew takes a break, the doorbell rings, and Mia opens it to find an unknown man standing in front of her. The man is trembling and through tears tells her that she finally let him go. Before Mia can react, the man pulls out a gun and shoots himself in the head right in front of her. The police arrive shortly after to remove the body, but Mia notices the man was holding a videotape and decides to keep it. That night, after Robert goes to sleep, Mia decides to watch the tape. The video begins with Riley introducing the show as they head to investigate Shelby Oaks, an abandoned town located right on the edge of Darke County, Ohio. Riley explains to the camera that they say the crops died and the soil deteriorated, but the truth behind what happened to Shelby Oaks is what they came to discover. However, something strange happens almost immediately. Riley stops in front of the abandoned prison, and her expression changes completely, looking uncomfortable and nervous. When her teammates ask her what's wrong, she insists that something isn't right and that they shouldn't be there, even though they had just arrived. The video cuts to another scene where Riley is at the abandoned amusement park. She explains that in its heyday, it was the only attraction for visitors. There was a dance hall, roller coasters, and even a hotel. But after a series of missing person reports and a devastating fire, the park ended up closing, left abandoned and forgotten in the woods. Riley mentions that she believes she dreamt about this place once and that her mother came here very often as a child. Then Riley approaches a tree and begins to carve something into the bark. When asked what it means, she replies that they are the initials RM and that Mia will understand when she sees it. Later, the group finds an abandoned cabin and decides to stay there. But almost immediately, they notice the shadow of a man prowling outside, although when they open the door, they find no one. That night, the tension rises when they start hearing wild howls that seem to come from everywhere, as if they were surrounded. Peter is terrified and demands to know how Riley can sleep so calmly when the noises are coming from all sides and are surrounding the whole damn cabin. The others hear the sounds too, and fear takes hold of the group. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise outside, and one of them goes to check, but finds no one. However, at that moment, a man appears out of nowhere and brutally attacks him. The man enters the cabin and begins murdering everyone one by one while the camera captures the chaos and screams. When Riley comes down the stairs and sees her friends' bodies, the killer, instead of killing her, abducts her and drags her away. The video ends there, but as Mia processes what she just saw, she notices something in the reflection on the TV screen. A demonic figure with horns is standing behind her. Mia slowly turns toward the window and watches as the glass begins to crack. Mia grabs a baseball bat and rushes outside to investigate. Robert comes out asking what's happening, and she shows him the tape as proof that she was right all along and that her sister might still be alive. Robert hugs her and assures her that everything is going to be okay. The next day, the police inform Mia that the man who killed himself at her door was named Wilson Miles, born in Shelby Oaks in 1981. Wilson spent 5 years at the old Dark County Correctional Facility for aggravated assault and violence, the same prison where Riley went to film. After he got out, he went completely off the grid. No payments, no phone records. He probably found a hole to crawl into and hid there until now. Robert is upset that Mia didn't turn the tape over to the police, but she explains that the killer is dead. If she hands over the video, they'll just use the tape as an ending to the story without ever looking for Riley. To the police, this won't be anything new and nothing will change. As soon as the public sees the video, they'll drag Riley's name through the mud again. Mia insists they have to find her first and asks Robert for just a few days. Mia begins investigating Wilson on her own and discovers there was a riot at the prison where he was incarcerated that left 18 dead and several injured. The inmates insisted that demonic causes provoked the riot. She also finds references to something called the Mark of the Incubus. Mia manages to locate Morton, the former head of security at the prison. Morton tells her that his prison died the day Wilson Miles arrived. When Mia asks what he meant in an old interview about the facility's rapid deterioration, he tells her he's had several years to think about it, but one memory in particular puts it all in perspective. It was the day of the terrible riot. A computer error opened all the cells in Block 3. The last place you'd want that to happen because they called that block the tomb, since everyone inside had one foot in the grave. What Morton saw in cell 37 was horrifying, and that was Wilson Miles's cell. Morton describes Wilson as a peculiar, very quiet man who didn't talk to anyone. That day, his door was open, and he could have tried to escape, but he just stood there staring out the window, totally oblivious to the chaos surrounding him. When things calmed down, the man was still there, and you could tell he was carrying a heavy burden. Morton doesn't know what it was, but Wilson left nothing but death and corruption in his prison. Mia returns home and watches the tape over and over until she notices something disturbing. There is a horned demonic figure standing behind Riley in the amusement park video. The next morning, she presents all the evidence to Robert and explains the connection. In 1981, Wilson Miles was born in Shelby Oaks, and almost immediately after, the town started losing residents. Businesses closed, crops died, and the town barely survived by clinging to its only attraction, the amusement park. By the year 2000, only 2 things remained in Shelby Oaks: the park and the Dark County Correctional Facility. Mia shows Robert 2 photographs, one taken in 2002 and another in 2007, after Wilson had been there for 5 years, showing the deterioration of the place. Robert asks what this has to do with Riley, and Mia explains that Riley's night terrors stopped completely when she turned 13. Exactly when Wilson started his sentence. 5 years later, he got out, and Riley disappeared. She didn't outgrow anything. It was all real. Robert assumes Wilson was the one watching Riley through the second-floor window, but Mia denies it. Then she confesses something she had never told anyone because, until now, she had considered it a false memory or a nightmare. When Riley was 9 or 10, she had a very difficult week, screaming and crying every night. So Mia decided to sleep in her room, thinking it might help. Riley slept through the night, but Mia didn't. As soon as Riley fell asleep, Mia heard something outside the window scratching the glass. She turned in bed, looked across the room, and saw it. A demonic figure watching her. She never told her mother or Riley, and after that, she never saw it again, until now. Mia believes that thing used Wilson, possessed and controlled him to get what it wanted ever since it saw Riley through the window. Robert can't accept what he's hearing and tells her she needs help before walking out. Alone at home, Mia starts researching demonolatry and worship practices. She finds information about the incubus and discovers that it uses hellhounds as sentinels, acts like a parasite, and attaches itself to a family to obtain offspring. While going through Riley's old belongings, she finds her sketchbook. Flipping through it, she discovers her sister had drawn exactly the same demonic figure Mia saw that night. Suddenly, she hears a growl outside. Looking out the window, she sees a hound walking toward her. She tries to back away, but when she looks again, the animal has vanished. Mia goes back inside and re-examines the videos, this time focusing on the prison episode. Riley looked terrified while exploring a specific cell. When Mia pauses the video and checks the cell number, she realizes it is number 37, Wilson Miles' cell. Without thinking twice, Mia gets in her car and heads to the abandoned prison. The place is completely decayed and empty, with black stains on the walls as if it had been consumed by something. She walks slowly through the halls until she reaches Block 3 and enters Wilson's cell. From the small window, she can see the ruins of the amusement park in the distance. She looks down and notices she is standing on someone's footprints. She inspects the wall and finds her and Riley's initials carved next to satanic symbols and the words, Mighty Tarion. Suddenly, she hears a demonic shriek behind her. She tries to run but falls to the ground. Something begins to approach slowly from the darkness. It is one of the hellhounds lunging at her. Mia manages to escape the prison and drives directly to Shelby Oaks to get to the root of it all. She heads to the amusement park and ventures into the woods until she finds the tree where Riley carved their initials. She hears a growl behind her, but when she turns, she finds no one. She walks through the trees until suddenly she runs into another hound, but this time the animal doesn't attack her. Instead, it motions for her to follow. Mia has a gut feeling and decides to follow it. The hound leads her to an old house that looks lived in. Outside, she notices branches buried in the ground, forming the same satanic symbol she has seen everywhere. Suddenly, an older woman comes out of the house and calls to her. Mia tells her she didn't know anyone lived there. The woman replies that she has been there for so long, she doesn't remember how long it's been. She introduces herself as Norma and invites Mia inside. Mia follows her, almost as if hypnotized. Once inside, Norma offers her food, but Mia declines. Then Mia shows her a photo of Riley and asks if she has seen her. But Norma denies it. When Mia asks if she lives alone, they hear a creak coming from upstairs. Taking advantage of Norma's distraction, Mia grabs a knife from the table to protect herself. She notices the house is in completely uninhabitable condition, with the same black stains she saw in the prison covering the walls. Norma tells her she used to live with her son, but hasn't seen him in a long time, pointing to a photograph. Mia freezes when she discovers that Norma's son is Wilson Miles. Norma asks Mia if she has children, and she answers no. The old woman asks why, and Mia, uncomfortable, changes the subject, saying she would like some tea. As soon as Norma goes to the kitchen, Mia texts Robert asking him to call the police. Then she notices a photo album on the table and opens it. What she finds inside turns her stomach. Photographs of Riley with Wilson in what appears to be some kind of ritual marriage. There are photos of Riley pregnant on multiple occasions and others showing she lost the babies. Wilson had kept her captive for years, abusing her and trying to impregnate her again and again. The branches she saw outside forming the symbol are the graves of all those unborn children. Norma appears behind her and tells her she should be proud because Riley was strong, just like her. She explains that she was given the opportunity for greatness by Tarion, and that now it is Riley's turn to raise his offspring. Mia tells her she already called the police and demands to know where her sister is. Norma lifts a rug, revealing a hidden trapdoor that leads to a basement. She tells Mia not to be afraid because it is a gift. Mia pulls out her knife and slowly descends the stairs. She walks through the dark dungeon until she finds Riley chained in one of the cells, weak and barely conscious. Mia calls out to her, but Riley doesn't respond at first. After Mia begs her several times, Riley finally recognizes her. Mia finds the key, frees her, and they start running toward the exit. But Norma begins to follow them, and Mia sees Tarion standing behind the old woman. They manage to get outside, but Riley suddenly breaks free and runs back into the house. Mia follows her and finds the basement door open. She grabs an improvised weapon and heads up the stairs, where she finds Riley standing outside a room. She tries to convince her to leave, but then she hears a baby crying. Mia slowly opens the door and enters. She finds Norma performing a ritual, worshipping Tarion while using the baby as an offering. Riley tries to attack her, but Norma uses some kind of power to throw both sisters against the wall, knocking them unconscious. When Mia regains consciousness, she sees Norma crawling toward a well while chanting to the mighty Tarion, incubus of the north. Mia notices that her own photos are plastered on the wall, and Norma smears them with her blood as she completes the ritual. Before dying, Norma looks at Mia one last time, leaving her petrified. Mia approaches the baby and finds him covered in blood. She promises him that they are both safe now. The next morning, they are escorted out by police and emergency services. Robert apologizes to Mia for not believing her and promises he will be with her from now on. The news spreads quickly. Newscasts report that Riley, the missing host of Paranormal Paranoids, has been found alive after 12 years, locked in the basement of a house in Shelby Oaks. Police confirm they are in possession of recently discovered videos showing the final moments of Peter, Laura, and David, as well as Riley's abduction. The case is closed, blaming Wilson and Norma as two psychopaths acting alone. Mia resumes the documentary, but now with Riley present. She explains that both she and the baby are fine, although it will take time for Riley to return to normal. That night, Mia goes to check on them and finds Riley and the baby sleeping in the same room. Meanwhile, Riley, who was only pretending to be asleep, gets up, grabs a pillow, and slowly approaches the baby. Mia enters the room just in time and freezes when she sees what Riley is about to do. She begs her not to do it. Riley tells her the child is satanic and has to die, that Mia doesn't know what lies inside him. Mia insists that her sister is not a killer. Riley tells her she loves her and then lunges at the baby. Mia runs to stop her and they struggle until she accidentally pushes Riley out the window. Riley survives the fall, but at that moment, a pack of hellhounds appears and tears her apart without mercy, while Mia watches in horror as her sister is ripped to shreds before her eyes. Suddenly, Tarion appears behind Mia and places his hand on her shoulder. Mia then remembers that she was the one who saw the demon as a child, not Riley. Finally, she understands that it was all a plan from the very beginning. One sister was chosen to bear the demon's child, and the other was destined to raise it. As the realization consumes her, Mia understands that from now on, she will be the one raising the demon child.